Can the Giants realistically make the playoffs? Let's talk about it. Today we are talking about the Giants and the potential of them to maybe sneak into the playoffs. They are coming off a terrible 3-14 season, but because of the offseason and the draft, there is a ton to look forward to. The Giants have almost rebuilt themselves overnight. I don't want to seem dramatic, but I really don't think another 3-14 season is possible. Maybe we get 4 wins, maybe we get 5. Either way, it's an improvement though, right? No, but seriously though, we have a quarterback room reset. We have completely redone our quarterback room. As you all know, we had Daniel Jones for 6 years. We had Drew Lock. We still have Tommy DeVito. But there's been a ton of guys who just haven't been able to do the job. And now we have Russell Wilson. And I understand that Russell Wilson is not the Russell Wilson that he was at one point. I understand that. But Russell Wilson is still a major upgrade from what we have had in previous seasons. Now, I understand we also have Jameis Winston. I do not expect him to play much. I think Russ is going to handle majority of the workload. Whether you agree with or disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. I think everyone kind of has different things to expect out of this quarterback room this season. I personally think Jackson Dart will take the field later in the year, maybe after the bye. We will see though on the state of the team and how things are. Maybe he sees the field sooner. We really don't know. Now, even though Russell Wilson is not himself from his prime and his glory days, he is still Russell Wilson. He still has the knowledge. You could see in his film last year, even on plays where he was trying to make the ball go where he wanted to, you could tell he has the mental. He can read the plays. It's just a matter of him putting the ball where he wants to sometimes, I think is his big problem. And naturally, that's just age and his body catching up to him with time. It's sad to see, but it's just natural. It just happens. So with that being said, I think it's very safe to say our quarterbacks are majorly upgraded. Now, to switch gears a little bit, let's talk about the running back room and the addition of rookie Cam Scatterboo. Now, why is he a good addition and what do we already have? Last season, we had rookie Tyron Tracey Jr., who had 192 carries, 839 yards, 4.4 average yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. And I know that doesn't seem amazing, but he also had 284 reception yards, putting him at above 1,000 yards total from scrimmage. Now, why is this a big deal, you might ask? Well, we have Tyron Tracey with 1,000 scrimmage yards, and also Malik Neighbors with 1,000 scrimmage yards last season. And I don't know the exact stat or graphic, but I had it in one of my other videos. That was, I think, the third rookie duo ever to have 1,000 total scrimmage yards from 2 positions. Maybe it was specifically running back and wide receiver rookie duo. Anyways, that is something to look forward to. You already know Malik Neighbors is going to get his yard. Side note, we will talk about the receivers more in depth, but I just want to say Malik Neighbors putting up the numbers he did with the quarterbacks he had is a true indication of how special he really is. I will talk more about that later in the video. Now, let's get back on topic here with Tyron Tracey and Cam Scott. Now, we also have Eric Gray, which has been almost falling down to the bottom of the depth chart. We also have Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary will see less of the field. Now, a little bit of a hot take here. I think Cam Scatterboo's usage will be a little bit higher than we are expecting. I'm not saying he will be running back 2 or 1 by any means, but I think him and Tracy are going to be our version of Sonic and Knuckles over in Detroit. Now, although it's not a significant difference, I would say our O-line has definitely improved. We do have some weaknesses as well, but I think these guys are going to have a good year. I expect Tyron Tracey to put up 1,000 yards rushing. I think he has potential to do more. Now, obviously, he might not get as many reception yards because who knows? I don't have the film or the breakdown, so I don't know exactly, but who knows how many of those 284 reception yards are from checkdowns. Now, if the average was 7.5 yards, it's fair to say that about half of those yards are probably yak yards. So it was probably an average of like 3 to 4 yard passes to him. So maybe he gets less reception yards because we have a better quarterback this season, if that makes sense. But either way, I think Tyron Tracey will get his numbers. And this leads me to talk about Cam Scatterboo for a second. When asked about what motivates him to make it in the NFL, this was his response.
Yeah, how many snaps of the NFL have you seen me play? 0, right? I've proved nothing. I've proved what I am in college, but I've proved nothing at this level. So, now where I'm at, I have to prove myself. And if that's for 5 years or if that's for 10 years, I'm gonna continue to prove myself. The best do it for the longest. So, I'll continue to do that and just work my butt off until time comes.
Yes, sir. That is exactly what you want to hear out of your young rookie potential franchise running back. Now, I know anybody could just come in and say this, but you can tell from everything you've seen about Cam Skadaboo, you can tell he really is like this, man. Now, speaking about older running backs, and that's why I'm wearing this jersey today. Shout out my man Tiki, Giants legend. Anyways, Giants Tiki Barber has said New York is trying to establish an old school Giants identity. And I understand this. If you guys have not been active on social medias for whatever reason, the G-Man Galaxy is a great page on Instagram. There are others as well, like Big Blue Nation or something. There's a ton of Giants pages. They post all the OTA camp footage, practice footage, everything behind the scenes, right? And everything I've seen behind the scenes lines up with this quote exactly. For the first time in a long time, it seems like the Giants have culture and identity. And we really have the coldest Giants team, persona wise, we've had in a long time. And we have a ton of personalities on this team, and it's very exciting to look forward to. Now, I do slightly disagree with Tiki Barber here. He is saying the Giants are trying to establish an old school identity. However, I disagree. Me personally, I'm going to say this is a new era of Giants football. Now, I understand he thinks it is old school Giants identity because the last time Giants had identity, they were an old school team. But I disagree. I think they are bringing in a new identity. I think this is going to be a new Giants team. And overall, we are rebuilding and we are brand new and we are back. So sorry, Tiki. I do agree, but I'm going to have to disagree. We are going to see a new identity we've never seen before. But I do definitely agree that Dayball and Shane are building an actual identity here. I've said identity way too many times in the last minute. Let's proceed. Now, another thing I want to touch on is the Giants receiving unit. I'm going to make a video on the receiving unit for the Giants and why they are so deadly very soon. I did just upload a video about Jalin Hyatt. I will put it on the screen somewhere over here. If you guys have not seen that yet, go check that out. But let's talk about Jalin Hyatt some more. This is more recently developing news. There are rumors that Gabe Davis visits the Giants and potentially we sign him. Although cap space is the issue right now, I think maybe they could have made it work. However, there's a reason Gabe Davis is not a Giants. Jalin Hyatt. We've seen a lot about Jalin Hyatt recently, right? Jalin Hyatt seems to be finding an early connection with Russell Wilson. It is worth watching as the Giants figure out which wide receiver. Oh, you can't see it, my bad. Which wide receivers make the most sense on the field with the way the offense is going to be developed with Wilson behind center. If it is more of a vertical attack, Hyatt could be ideal in that type of system. Now, I do want to show this clip right here because Russell Wilson and Jalin Hyatt connection is heating up. It is growing. We've seen it in the past few weeks. We're seeing it more. Russell Wilson on Jalin Hyatt said he's a guy that I really believe in. Now, I think Giants signing Russ is a huge move, but particularly the biggest for Jalin Hyatt because Russ has played his whole career with many great receivers. Especially when thinking guys like Golden Tate who have had great careers. Russ knows what to look for in a receiver at this point. Russ probably got to the Giants camp probably like, dude, they have this guy just sitting here. He's a nice receiver. They don't use him. Russ is feeding him. Russ knows what it takes in a receiver to be good in the NFL at certain things. And Russ knows there's untapped potential here in Jalin Hyatt. He's even tweeting about Hyatt. Jay Hyatt. And then Hyatt back with the tweets again. He tweeted last year some they wrote me out, but I didn't write back. And then didn't do anything. Like I said, not his fault. He's a positional player. Definitely relies on a quarterback. But this is from today. Or it's from yesterday. You can see that's a beautiful pass. Leads the receiver, gives him space. Hyatt is quick. I think that might be the first time I've ever seen Hyatt on a slant in my life. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the Giants have ever put Jalin Hyatt on a slant. I think they make him run in a straight line, and that's it. So if you have this guy who is a quick receiver, although we do have Wan'Dale Robinson, who is a pure slot receiver, if we have Jalin Hyatt run slants and create space and use his speed to his advantage, we can have a deadly receiving unit. How are you going to stop Malik Neighbors, who is an automatic, just animal? How are you going to stop Malik Neighbors? Two small, speedy guys in Wan'Dale and Hyatt. Obviously, Wan'Dale is more explosive when he gets the ball. Hyatt is a more deep threat, quick guy. How are you going to stop that? And we have Darius Slayton, who is the most underrated receiver of the year. How are you going to stop these four receivers when Russell Wilson gets hot and becomes Mr. Unlimited? You're just not. This offense is going to catch people off guard this year. We're going to win games we are not supposed to win. We're going to win games nobody expected us to win. And you might ask, oh yeah, their offense might be good. What about their defense? They have no secondary. Bro, we have potentially the best defensive line in football. We have the second best ranked defensive tackle in football, Dexter Lawrence. But after this year, he will be number 1 ranked. He already is the best of football. I'm not gonna lie. He is the best. He is amazing. We have Brian Burns. We have Bobby Okereke and Mika McFadden, who I expect to have a good season. And the reason I expect them to have a good season at linebacker is because our defensive line is so powerful. Now, when you look at the defensive stats, the Giants did have 45 sacks, and I know that sounds like a lot, but we're not even in the top 5 for most sacks in the league. The Broncos led with 63, the Ravens 54, Cowboys 52, and I'm not going to bother reading all these. But anyways, with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and you cannot forget rookie Abdul Carter, this defensive line is going to eat. This defensive line is going to eat everybody, eat everything in sight. We have absolute run stopping power. We have absolute pass rushing power. This is going to be amazing. I'll talk about the secondary in a minute, but the pure power of this pass defense is going to make everybody's job on the field easier. Everything is going to work hand in hand. The addition of Abdul Carter is going to make Brian Burns' job easier, which is going to make Kayvon's job easier, which is going to make Dexter Lawrence's job easier. This is a team that plays for each other. This is a team that fights for themselves, bro. They fight for everybody else on the field. This team is going to have ridiculous chemistry. The defense is going to have chemistry with each other. I already see the defensive line being the top D-line in the NFL. Our secondary's job is going to be easier because the defensive line will have so much damn pressure on the quarterback. It's worth noting we did get Javon Holland in free agency, who came off a bit of a slump last season, but I do believe in him to turn things around. Deontay Banks needs to fix things up. Also, Adebo is definitely worth noting that we got as well in free agency. For me, my biggest concern on defense is our secondary. Personally, I'm starting to have doubts if our defensive scheme is the issue or if it is our players. I genuinely don't know at this point. But our defensive line is going to be absolute peak premier pass rushing, man. I don't know anybody whose O-line can stop us. Potentially the Eagles could hold us back a little bit, but I really think every quarterback in the league is in trouble. Now, with all that being said, I think the Giants could sneak into the playoffs. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I see something nobody else sees. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.